Chapter 8, Episode 5. When You Eat a Giant. The next day, as planned, I took Malene on a tour of the Imperial College of Medicine. Thalma refused to let Clara go out with her for the day, so he went on tour. The escorts want to see how the imperial aristocrats practice divine arts rather than the medical school. So they go to the de Medici's family's divine arts training ground and observe the training of the Knights of the Divine Arts. And so Thalma and Malene were the only ones who attended the school. Malene notices the portraits of the professors at the main gate of the medical college and stops. What is that? It's a painting of a professor at this pharmacy school. Traditionally, it is decorated with a portrait of the professor. Thalma is there too. Only one is a child. How many years ago was this painting? It was a little over a year ago. It was drawn when I took office, so I already look much younger. Thalma had a strong feeling that if he looked like a child's face, he would be licked first by a hot-blooded student like Emmerich. In the end, it doesn't matter if he gets licked after entering university. There will only be revenge in lectures and exams, but if Thalma's appearance causes overseas applicants to forego attending lectures or go to another university, that is a fair chance loss. Malene turned her attention to Helen and Bruno. I know these two, she said. Actually, my father is the president of this university. Is it run by family and acquaintances, or is there a shortage of manpower? I mean, the authority of the president of Imperial College of Medicine is also ruined. Thalma felt uncomfortable because the cross-cultural exchange was difficult. Still, I feel uncomfortable when I look at a picture that doesn't move. Can I make a little noise? Don't make it alive. Right now, the Empire doesn't have the technology to move paintings. Painting seems to Malene to be something that needs to be animated. On the contrary, for Thalma it was also a culture shock. To welcome them, Malene moved the professor's portraits with magic so that the students cried out and were overjoyed. It's like the painting is alive. Wow, is this the divine art of Professor de Medici? Malene smiled gently, feeling relieved at the students' good reactions. Thalma caught a glimpse of her naive side and thought she was a big problem, but she was just an ordinary girl. The effect is amazing, but... While thinking like this, Thalma looked at his moving portrait with a strange face. Can I stop now? Don't make me look like this. No, it's a little prank. Malene is annoying Thalma with her childish mischief, but I don't really understand her true intentions. Well, it can't be helped since we're both kids, so Thalma gave up after writing on the bulletin board. Due to various circumstances, the picture is now moving. Professor de Medici's. Hey, what are you doing? The university's administrative director heard the commotion and rushed out of his office. When the office manager saw the moving image, he protested in confusion, but Thalma could do nothing about it either. No, it's not my job, so I can't return it. Even if my companion did. It seems that it is the leader's responsibility, and Thalma gets a share. Malene held her stomach and laughed, but she asked the secretary if she would forgive him soon. Then you follow the visitors with your eyes and smile, stare at suspicious people, give instructions and sleep at night? Oh, that's good. Because it's too scary. How long is this going to move? As long as I say yes. Thalma's retort was in vain, and the secretary liked it, so they left it as it was. Thalma's heart ached when he thought that the students who came to the university at night would surely faint when they saw the sleeping portrait. Malene raged from the start, but the next place I showed her was the medicinal herb garden. She said she really wanted to see this place, so I invited her to the attached greenhouse of the medicinal herb garden where medicinal herbs and flowers were in full bloom. The medicinal herb garden grows medicinal herbs, poisonous plants, and fruit trees from all over the world and also serves as a medicinal herb preparation school. Malene flicks her hands over her face as she vigorously undoes the buttons on her chest, making Thalma stop. Hey, that's all you want me to remove? Why should we follow the rules of the Empire? Since I lived in light clothing on the continent, it must be hot in the Empire's clothing. It is their culture, even if there are some extreme skin coverings. It would be wrong for Falma to say something embarrassing about it. Just when I thought I was in trouble, I heard a voice from outside the greenhouse calling Falma's name. "Is Professor Falma de Medici's here?" "Yes, but here." "Oh, I'm the president of the Imperial College of Art. Do you want me?" To be honest, I can't think of any reason why an art university professor would bother going to the herb garden to find Falma. The one who visited Falma was an art university professor with a unique arrangement of long blue hair. "I saw him once in a palace. I happened to pass by your school and there was a moving painting on the front gate." My soul was shaken. Falma could not stop the professor, who praised Maline's magic with a passionate pose. Maline's performance seems to have touched the artist's heart, so the misunderstanding is cleared up as soon as possible. Actually, it's her technique, not mine. Her name is Maline, and she came from the New World for sightseeing. It's wonderful, très bien. Please come and teach at our school. The rewards are good. I'm sorry, she doesn't live on the continent, so I'm a little embarrassed to talk like that. Falma intervenes, but Maline is forced by the professor to hold both hands and is pulled back by the strength of the pressure. "What does that mean?" Falma, thinking it unclear, asked Maline a question. "He is a painter and runs an art school. He wants me to teach him the magic that makes Maline's painting work." "But you can't do magic, can you?" A scout who came from an unexpected place winked at Falma and said, "Refuse to Maline." He just nodded at Falma's words. Maline thought for a while and came to a conclusion. "No, I can't tell you that." "That's right." Falma was relieved in his heart, although the professor had no island to hold on to. "Later I will officially send a messenger from our house to answer," Falma said, and sent the professor away for the time being. Maline waved at the professor as he slumped his shoulders and left. "Let me just say that it's not fair to teach people the Miraca witchcraft they inherited from their ancestors," she said. "Why do you think that? Don't you all want to know everything?" Instead of Falma translating Harris's words and enthusiastically teaching me about medicinal herbs and medicine, I also taught the imperial people. I wondered if there was anything I could do, but it seems impossible. It surprised Falma to even think of returning it. "They're coming towards me." Falma imagined that the professor's offer was as if Maline wanted to learn the divine arts of the imperial nobles. Even if you can't use magic, the temple seems useful for the technique of manipulating spirits. Nevertheless, it's a little disconcerting when Maline is so defenseless. She doesn't seem very suspicious of someone she once trusted. "You know, I want you to take this as a word without a downside, but you can only cut negotiation cards so easily by force. It's the basis of international negotiations. When I talk to you, I don't really understand. Why do you imitate people from other countries? I'm in Saint Fleuve, but I don't just sympathize with the people of the Empire. I want as many people as possible to be happy, not just any country. I want the descendants of Maline to keep laughing the continent in 100 years because I want you to be there." It would sound like a lie if I said that, but that was Falma's true intention because he knew the history of American pioneering. Even if we were under the protection of the Empire now, there is no guarantee that we would not be attacked by invaders in the future. Right now, the Saint Fleuve Empire is the largest empire in the world, and His Holiness Elizabeth is trying to respect the Malines and withdraw from the continent. What Maline sorcery will be a force that can fight more than balanced, if it will be a matter with the Empire or other countries. Even if Elizabeth doesn't set it up, you don't know who the next boss will be. Falma and Maline are alone in the herb garden. There are no signs of people around. The two sat on a bench in the herb garden and continued their conversation. "Thank you for your advice. Otherwise, since there are only two of us, I would like to exchange ideas with you." "No, that's why you shouldn't talk about magic with people in the Empire." Falma wanted to push back, but Maline silently shook her head. "Are you the god of medicine?" My mind has been investigating during the night. On my continent there is a wise spirit called Ancestral Pearl. This spirit called you the king of spirits and feared you. and this land. As soon as I came to Japan and sought out the priests, I knew what your name was. In just one night, Malene used the causative spirits to investigate the imperial capital of Sanfleuve and established Falma's true identity. Malene may have come to this continent to investigate Falma's background. I thought it was wrong, but Malene seemed convinced of the right answer after seeing Falma's reaction. There are great spirits on my continent, but there are no gods. I don't know what kind of beings they are. But the god of medicine seemed to be an ally of the people, although they were enemies of the spirits. Because you crossed the ocean to save our family, lifted the curse on Lake Titicaca and returned home without taking anything from us. The way I saw it, he is trying to welcome us wholeheartedly. Maybe the god of medicine cares a lot about people. Malene showed Falma an innocent smile. Falma thinks freshly that he can laugh like that. I wonder what it is, but I can't answer well. You don't seem to know anything about magic and spirits on the continent, so I will tell you. By the way, I do not reveal my internal affairs to the people of the enemy country. I intend to entrust myself to the god of medicine. Same. The content might have been written in Harris's diary, but probably not. Okay. That's what I'm asking. In order for the Miraka to use magic, they must be judged the Tuningischtamdergeist Mate of us. Those who pass the judgment receive magical powers according to their characteristics and become sorcerers. There is no curse vein that corresponds to the divine vein. He cannot be the enemy of the spirits because he is the sorcerer chosen by the spirits. Of course, there are no evil spirits. Malene spoke to Falma about such a system without hesitation. The mystical system and the magical system are completely different, although Rudaleka is the same. The only thing they had in common was Rudaleka, and the concept was completely different. It is as if we were trying to change the use of supernatural forces between the geographically isolated continents. Is this continent really under the Gravekeeper's jurisdiction? Such questions arise. Little by little, I begin to understand. Are there legends about giants or gigantic spirits in the magic system? No one has ever heard of such a thing. What is a giant? Well, you don't know? Thanks. Malene was confused but confided in Falma, saying she felt better. So here's my question. What can the god of medicine do? It's the same as an apothecary. Make medicine and heal people. No matter who it is. Is that why you grow these plants? Surely the plants in this greenhouse are unfamiliar. Because the vegetation is certainly different from the plants on this continent. There may be something similar, but it may be different from the continent where Malene is located. There are few drugs that can be obtained from plants, so only the ingredients of the drug you should use a purely refined version of. Then the plants of the continent where I live cannot be used as medicine? Malene regretted that even if she brought back the knowledge of the medicinal plants of that continent, it would be useless if she could not use it. As she thought about what to do, Falma thought of something. When I think about it, Mr. Harris wrote in his journal about medicinal plants and herbs, she said. Should I use that as a reference? There is no choice but to confirm the effects one by one. Falma examines together with Malene Harris' diary. Gravel plant pear. Has a diuretic effect. Boxwood dogwood. Good for headaches. Black cohosh relieves pain and promotes labor. Hydrangea effective against cystitis. And so on. There are medicinal plants documented by Harris. Can these be used as medicine? Falma felt sorry because Malene looked at him expectantly. By the way, the benefits of these plants are all magical. Of course, Harris's knowledge dates from the early 20th century, and its efficacy is disputed by modern geopharmaceuticals, so it is not recommended. I can't take Malene seriously, so I firmly put a nail in it and said, I can't use it. Can't use it even though it was a record of a great wizard. Malene is easy to understand, so I feel uncomfortable that Falma was bad. From the medicinal plants in this medicinal herb garden, if you bring the ones that work back to the continent and cultivate them, you can make new medicines from them. Then you can send an apothecary there. What do you think? If Malene wishes, we can consider opening another continental branch of the World Pharmacy. There must be many pharmacists interested in sending to the new continent. This is not good. If this pharmacy withdraws, there will be nothing left. We will suffer from a disease and remember the convenient medicine. Borrowed knowledge will not work. It must be real. Malene says this because after the loss of the actual weapons brought by Harris, the Myrakas were unable to make their own firearms for self-defense. As such, Harris's technology was unique. The Myraka did not understand the principle of firearms, nor could they discover the ingredients of gunpowder or how to make it. Those Harris taught directly engaged in witchcraft died out in tribal wars, were not passed on, and the art did not last long. Malene seems to have regretted it. Understood. You really want to learn science and technology, including pharmacy, on this continent. But it's impossible to do it overnight. It's no wonder that one day you'll suddenly acquire the technology. Maybe. None of the Myraka lack the basics to study anything. If you intend to study here for years and complete your studies, I will gladly accept it. I will ask Her Holiness Elizabeth for permission to study abroad. It has become a good story, Falma rejoices, as if it were his own. There is not a single person on the faculty of this medical school who turns down anyone who wants to further their education. Malene will study abroad. It will be a motivated and promising member of the clan. Let me know if that happens again. If we learn how the world works, maybe we can let go of sorcery. Malene wants to let go of her sorcery. You already know, don't you? Even if you are good at spells and sorcery, you will run out of that power one day. Those who have lost their power will have to fear assassination. Magical talent is largely due to individual traits and is not passed down to future generations. Shamans have a short lifespan and are among the first casualties of combat. He seemed to want to do something about it. She possesses a magical ability that threatens Falma, and even assumes the position of head of the Myraka tribe. What she hides in her heart is a humble desire. Do you think it's wrong for all Myraka to give up their magic? I don't think so. Magic users have similar conflicts. The same is true for the use of divine arts. The presence or absence of divine power has decided everything in this country. Although they are the same people, there is a division between aristocrats and commoners are not perceived as key figures in the country. Aristocrats feel responsible for having attained divine power, and in order to fulfill their obligations, they train hard every day to wear themselves down. Is this really all right? Falma and Malene seem to have the same thoughts. What if the world were peaceful and there were no evil spirits? I hope that once the evil spirits are gone, the day will come when everyone can live a normal life without using the divine arts. I think that science is superior to the divine arts in terms of passing on technology. It was something I felt vaguely as an earthling, but since Falma had been surrounded by nobles since he came to this world, he had not told anyone about it. This is because it is nothing more than making the privileges of nobles unnecessary. That's why I want everyone to be able to learn useful techniques that can be used by everyone, not just a limited number of people. It's still hard to throw them away. As I said the other day, if evil spirits threaten the people of this country, perhaps we, the Myrakas, can suppress them without fighting them. I appreciate that. But it's not just evil spirits. There are greater things than ghosts. What? A giant lurking between dimensions, the Gravekeeper, who may be the caretaker of this world. The cog of the hammer that the Gravekeeper drives and prevents the collapse of the world. The emergence of patron deities who continue to appear from other worlds has also strengthened a society that relies on divine arts. The path is infinitely long. Nevertheless, is it wise to take one step at a time? As I grope in the dark, I feel I have found someone who understands Malene. Did you say you were a giant earlier? This is it. By the way, are you still the same size? Malene tried to look at Falma's whole body. About me. It doesn't change. The size of the spirit is free, but the god of medicine is not bound to a physical body, so it can only be this size. If you think you're small, just grow up and eat your opponent. Cannibalism. What about the god of medicine? It was a perspective I had never thought of. In retrospect, the reason the medicine god's staff was flexible was so that it could be used regardless of the medicine god's size. It is possible that there was such a function. Falma himself bound his own size and regulated it like a human. But the power of this giant was so strong that even if I had a way to get bigger, I didn't feel I could win at all. It is man's prayer that strengthens the spirit. Is there nothing that strengthens God? Maline's wise words one after another seemed to shake the foundations of Falma's existence. Falma remembered. Every time people prayed to the god of medicine, some kind of system in this world gathered power in Falma. And remember again. In the fading memory of his past life, the question he asked Nakajima, his classmate from his past life. When we encounter this kind of god, will we have no choice but to surrender? If I remember correctly, Nakajima should have said that it would not be impossible to counterattack if he dropped the god in the same space-time. If Falma gathers enough power by gathering the prayers and divine powers of people all over the world, a tyrannical giant that has devoured numerous guardian deities summoned from different worlds, pull the Gravekeeper from the gap between dimensions, will there be a chance to overcome it and take over the leadership of the world? What will become of its existence afterwards?